Do not own any music or content besides gameplay used in this video. All rights go to the respected owners. Hello and welcome to the video. As you can already guess from the title today, we are going to be doing some modded Minecraft. It may not be super modded, it may not be ultra modded like Captain Sparkles did way back when, but it's still modded nonetheless. But we aren't going to be doing a full let's play. We are doing a tutorial like series that covers some of the basics and maybe some of the advanced stuff that is involved with this mod pack. Just know that I would have tried an actual mod pack that people probably are aware from the list of thousands of other mod packs, but fuck that. I decided to create my own mod pack with the basic essentials with some extras thrown in to give us a good experience. So without further ado, let's get into it. Before we even get into everything, we need to create a world first. Now, I'm going to be honest with you, I've been simping for a streamer who goes by the name Lauren, which you're going to see a lot of references about her and maybe hear some things I talk about during this. Sometimes I'm usually watching Lauren streams during these recording sessions, but luckily I'm muting my mic recordings for this commentary instead, so you shouldn't be constantly hearing me talk about her RP stuff and whatnot. Regardless, when creating the seed, I named it Lauren's Luck. See how lucky she was, which... Listen, let's just skip to the spawning into the world. You know how people say that certain mods are what you need to make Minecraft beautiful? I disagree. I personally think shaders do the job much better, plus there are so many shaders to choose from. Anyway, upon spawning into the new land, one thing must be done before anything else. Gather wood, tons of wood. Doesn't matter how much wood, just get wood. Sure, there's a sex joke in there somewhere. Because we are using Tinker's Construct mods, clay, sand, and gravel are a necessity when it comes to gathering your first resources. You'll soon see why. Of course, it never hurts to get sugarcane because you will need books in the future, so best to get that sugarcane farm started pronto. While gathering resources and finding a place to settle for the time being, I came across my first discovery, Pixie Town, which I thought were cute with how tiny they were and how little their houses were. That is until one of them robbed me of a book. Alright, you fairies, I'm gonna kill you later. Give me that. Alright, you fairies, screw you then. We're moving on. After traveling for a bit, I stumbled upon a nice little area I could call my temporary home. Of course, time was ticking and I needed shelter from above ground, so I made a makeshift bunker, which I also used as a mining outpost for the time being. If there's one thing you should always do at night, it's mining. The spawn rates are increased on the surface, which causes mobs to only ever be found above ground rather than below, meaning safer mining for raw materials. When it comes to modded Minecraft, a lot of resources become vital, and usually it is a good idea to stuff your inventory with a lot of ores and gems, but for me who knows what I need right now, which is stuff for Tinker's Construct, it pretty much means I can be choosy if I need to be when it comes to the specific ores. Now that we have a place for just our basic stuff, it's time to create our home. Sometimes if I'm feeling inspired, I'll create massive structures like a castle or like some sort of big ginormous fortification, but if I'm not feeling inspired, I usually stick to underground tunnels and cosplay the Viet Cong during the Vietnam War. But this time I wanted to recreate my home I built back in 7 Days to Die, which was inspired from Twisted Inc.'s roleplay survival series, which was a great series for me. I loved it, and it's why I have always used this base for my survival stuff, which turned this into probably my 10th biggest build in Minecraft, only due to the fact that it was done in survival, not creative. So little extra work went into this. But nevertheless, I finished this project and got started on my next project, the Forge. Remember all that clay, sand, and gravel I collected? Well, we now combine those to create grout and smelt all that grout to get seared bricks to now make the smeltery. To craft this structure, you're gonna need these blocks: a bunch of seared bricks, obviously, a seared tank for the fuel, seared controller for managing the alloys in your furnace, some seared drains for casting or block making, some faucets to go with those drains, and finally some casting tables and basins. You can put as many as you want, just know you're limited depending on how large you make this thing. Before we get any further, just letting you know that the seared tank requires lava to ensure that the smeltery can actually function. After that, it's time to get gold to make the cast for the individual parts we need for making our tools. However, in order to even make the individual casts, we need to make stone parts for the cast. How do we make these stone parts? With these blocks: a stencil table, a part builder, and a tool station. The tool station we will use after for crafting our tools, but we won't use that till later. However, it's not a bad thing to make it now. In order to make these blocks, you're going to need something called a blank pattern, which to make that, you'll need some wood and sticks together and make a bunch of those. Now I would make a bunch because you're going to also need them to make your patterns in order to make your cast. So by all means, make a bunch. Once you have your stencils, put them in the stencil table and create your patterns, as they're called. To craft your first Tinker's Construct pickaxe, you'll want these patterns: a pickaxe head, a tool binder, and a tool rod. Yes, I hear you snickering, but don't worry, I tend to have those thoughts too, so it's all understandable. Next, take your patterns and some cobblestone and put them in the part builder to create your stone parts. Don't worry, you're not using these for crafting your tool, you're using these to make the cast that will give you more options to make your tools. Take these parts to the smeltery and place each one of them on the casting table by right-clicking the table with the part in your hand. If you still have your gold ore, right-click the smeltery controller and shift-click the gold into the forge to let it smelt. Interestingly too, about the forge is it actually gives you double output for ores you smelt in there. So for every ore you put in, that will turn into 2 ingots each. Once it's smelted, make sure it's at the bottom to start using it. If it isn't, click on the molten liquid you need to use to have it be brought down to the bottom, and then right-click the faucet above your cast table with your stone part to watch the magic happen. Once it's filled, the liquid will stop draining and the cast will start to cool. The stone part will then be destroyed and instead leave you with the cast you need for making your tool parts. Repeat this process for the rest of the stone parts that you made, and voila, you have yourself some cast to start making tool parts. Next up is to start choosing the materials you want to use for your tool parts, but I'm going to let you decide that, and for a reason. Remember that tan book you get when you spawn? That book details everything you need to know about smeltery making, tool crafting, literally everything you need. Yes, I know the materials list looks complicated, but I'll simplify it for you. All these materials have stats and traits that make your tool or weapon better or worse at certain things. Period. The end. That's it. Not so scary, right? You can go full custom by making each part out of different materials, or make everything out of one material. But as you could probably guess, different traits will help you in certain areas, and some materials negatively impact your durability stat. So going full custom is the best route to go for. Now you're probably wondering, why go through all this trouble when you can just make diamond pickaxes over and over again? Well, to that I say, why waste such useful resources on a pickaxe that can shatter, where with Tinker tools, once they break, they don't shatter, which gives you the ability to fix them. Plus, they're modifiable. Yes, you can put modifiers on them to make them suit your need. You want Fortune 3? Gather some lapis and stack them on that bitch. You want Silk Touch? Craft a Silky Jewel and put it on the tool you need it for. Trust me when I say this shit is fully customizable. It all depends on what you truly want, so obviously the choice is yours. Yes, I understand when you start, you only get a few modifiers, but get this. Thanks to another mod called Tinker Tool Leveling, the more you use a tool or weapon, the more said tool or weapon levels up. As it levels up, it will gain modifiers for you to use at your discretion. Keep in mind that this is also your first tool, and eventually you want to upgrade as you come across more materials that you can use, so don't get too attached just yet. When I was looking through the list for materials to use when creating my weapon, I came across a material called Demon Metal. The stats seemed okay for a starting weapon, so I decided to look up its crafting recipe. Unfortunately though, the ingots had no crafting recipes, which usually means you have to find them, but I realized the best way to find what you're looking for in modern Minecraft is usually to search it up. After scrolling through the wiki, I discovered something unbelievable. Wait a minute. I'm just reading up on this? There's no way that's a thing. A little bit of context, back in 1.7.10 in the extra utilities mod, there was once an update that brought in some new items. One of them was a sword named the Kikoku. When the update went live, there was no crafting recipe for said sword yet. It was, however, discovered that doing a ritual would give a player a 50% chance to receive said weapon. Of course, this was discovered to be a troll, but reality it was a semi-troll because people found out in the code that the weapon can and will spawn given the right chances. Back to the demon metal, I thought this was being repeated or at least doing something similar to that troll. What it said on the wiki was to throw gold ingots into nether fountains, which are 3x3 nether brick rings with lava in the middle. You now see why I was skeptical. But as we all know, we don't learn things by sitting around doing nothing, so it's time to either look like a fool or make a discovery. First, we create our nether portal, gather some netherrack and other materials while we are at it, and head back in to make this fountain. After creating the fountain, I got what gold I had and tested this. Turns out, this is very much how you get demon metal, so with that, I have created my sword and named it the Demon Blade. And that's pretty much all from this session. One quick thing before I go is that this whole series probably took about a week for planning and testing. Well, this video took about a week for planning and testing, another week for recording the sessions, and 4 days for editing. So if you're wondering where I've been, it's all to get this sorted as well as figuring out a schedule for the series. Hopefully by the time Battlefield 2042 comes out, I'll be able to switch over to that content. But if you guys want more for this, I'll see if I can't improve this mod pack. There's a lot of stuff I'll be able to do, and I probably won't be able to get to all of it, but we will see once we cross that bridge. But anyways, hope you all enjoyed, and I'll see you later, my Shadow Recruits. Dismissed.